right. Well, welcome back, everyone. Blake, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little bit on the sad side because our career fair, we're down to, it's kind of bittersweet. Maybe not sad, but bittersweet because I'm like, oh, it's almost over. But oh, yes, we have another speaker. Do you feel
Yeah.
the same way?
Oh yeah. I mean, we got two amazing speakers. One of them right here with us, with Simeon, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining us, man. And yeah, we've got another really great one afterwards. So it is kind of bittersweet, where it's like, yay, we have more, but also it's going to be over after this, which is always a bummer.
Yep. And we can always reminisce and go and watch the videos or the recordings on the career fair website. So we're super excited about that. But we wanted to sprinkle in the trades this year. So we've talked about entrepreneurship, we've talked about starting a business, we've provided some resources, but for those hands-on learners or those students who are, and they're starting to come to my mind, those who want to go into a field like contracting or electrical. We have Simeon Daniel here, who's going to be talking about his experience in the electrical industry. So welcome and thank you for coming. We want to hand things off to you so you can share with our student population.
No problem. Well, it's nice. Thanks for having me on again. I loved it last time. I thought it was great. I wish I had this when I was 17 and not knowing what I wanted to do with so many career paths, So this was the opportunity I got to be able to explain my passage to where I'm at now is great. So I'd like to start off with, you always save the best for last. I'm just saying.
It's true.
Anyways, well, as Jonathan mentioned, I am an electrician. I've been doing it for over 30 years now. I may not look like it, but I am going to be turning 50 this year. So electricity keeps you young. It's great. My paths when I was 17, I didn't know. I was like, man, I want to go to college route. Do I want to go do this? I got to do that. I always worked as with my hands. With my father, we didn't grow up with the money to have contractors or mechanics or anything like that. So my pops was always like, all right, here's the parts, let's go do it. So that's where my hands-on experience started, tearing down walls, doing roofing, building walls, tearing down everything. As a kid, you're the labor guy. You start off, cleaning, picking up the trash, because you're not skilled at that point. So they use you mostly for labor. So I got a very young age. I grew up with a hammer on my tool belt, on my actual belt itself. I would click one on. So I grew up as I got older, I started working with a carpenter in the summertime. And he noticed that I did have mechanics for working with tools. And that all came with just, the sharing with my pops and this and that, how to working with him and taking stuff apart. And then I noticed I liked it. So I started with framing, doing carpentry. And the guy had been a carpenter now for like 30 years. And he told me, he's like, you want a good trade where you're not going to be backbreaking, where you're going to, you're going to do some work at first, but then something that you could do side jobs, something that somebody always needs. He goes, electricians. He goes, carpenter, you only need a carpenter when you need to build something. Electricians you need for putting on a ceiling fan, a light switch that breaks, electricity goes out, the power to the panel, anything, your computer, your Wi-Fi, anything. Electricians, we do it all. So he's like, that's the trade you want to go to. That's what you want to do. That's where you should go. And at the same time, I was still like, oh, we'll see what happens. So I was getting ready to graduate and I was like, well, I have that option. So then I went to JC, a junior college for a year. And during that time, I realized like, well, can I really sit behind a desk? Do I really want to, what am I going to do after I graduate from college? And so my route was, all right, I'm hands-on. Let me go try and sign up for fireman. Now, my passion was baseball, but I got into a motorcycle accident and that ended my career like that. And so I was like, okay, let me go try fireman. So I applied for the fireman department also the IBEW. I applied for the IBEW for the apprenticeship program, and they called first. So I'm like, what am I waiting for? Let's go do this. It's a 5-year apprenticeship. I was on my 3rd year when the fire department called me, and they're like, hey, do you want to come to our academy? I'm like, I'm already more than halfway done here. I want to finish this career. And that's where it started. My career led me to, it was interesting because it led me to my first pharmaceutical job, which is a brand new building out in Irvine by the Spectrum, way down south over here. And it was working amongst men and women that were way older than me. I was only 18 years old. I felt like a kid around them, and just a tons of experience, a lot of noise, a lot of things going on. And just, I realized that, you know, as an electrician, we kind of, they taught me and they put in store to me, like, we're kind of the cream of the crop. So I took that and I started working at interesting places, building. I know the one thing that everybody likes is the fact that I did a lot of projects at Disneyland. So everybody knows Disneyland. You know, my very first project when I got there was doing a communication system, which I was literally driving around Disneyland on the railroad track. So, which in circles. So I'm doing communication cabling. And then from there, I was working at, what do you call it? Indiana Jones. Towards the end of Indiana Jones was being built. The renovation of Pirates of the Caribbean. The Nightmare Before Christmas, when it turned into Jack, when they converted it into Jack, or, you know, the Night Before Christmas on the Haunted Mansion. And it is haunted. There is a kid. Yes, there is. I heard him every night. Quick fact, I know I'm talking about career day, but every time you see that ride turn off and you don't see anybody who they're trying to load on the ride, that means that little kid pushed the stop button. It happens all the time. Anyway, so that's a little fun fact. I experienced a little kid at like 2 a.m. There's a little kid running around. I freaked out. I'm calling security. They're like, no, don't worry about it. So anyways, but yeah, so I got to work on all these big rides because of my experience and what I was trained and stuff like that. And yes, electricity, you have to learn, you have to respect it. It's a great tool for everyday use. We all need it, obviously, whether we're producing it through power lines or we're doing it solar. We need electricity. If we wouldn't have electricity, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing now. And that's the great need. That's the great thing about this career. We always will need it. And just as when I first started, it advances. And so as it advances, you need to also advance. And it's good because in the IBW with the training, even as you come out as a journeyman, you're always up and up with the newest and greatest things. So I remember when I was a kid, they said by the year 2000, we're supposed to have flying cars. And well, obviously that didn't happen. But now we have electric vehicles. We have vehicles that drive on their own. You know, so I mean, you get food delivered to your house without anybody dropping it off. There's a vehicle that just shows up and drops off your food for you. You go pick it out. So it's amazing where we're at now with the technology and electricity. If you follow technology, electricity is right behind all that. So there's so many different things you could do. So I went from electrician. I'm still an electrician title wise, but I was doing data communication, which handles your network system, which we are talking over right now, which leads to automation. So factories and devices, and ever see cars being built, those robots that do things? Well, electricians and engineers, we work directly with them. We program those things for them. They tell us how they want it to work, and we program. We do what it's called ladder logic. So we control everything. I have stations that I monitor from my office that work automatically, and I just make sure they work automatically. When they don't, I could actually send a signal and communicate to them and make changes as needed. So technology advances, my career has advanced, and everything I do. Now, and it all started with just basic things. I am working mostly with a laptop now, but I used to use this all the time, which is a screwdriver, right? This is the one tool you're going to be using a lot. You know, and as you can see, it's rubber category. You know, you have many different types. This is just a regular one. These don't say they're rated for any type of voltage, but these do. You see the difference. So these are rated for, I think, 1,000 volts to protect you. And, you know, they work well. In my career, I maybe used them once. Because safety is huge when you're an electrician. If we could turn it off, we will turn it off. That's the great thing, because along with the career and what you learn how it works, you learn how to deal with it, and you learn how to be safe with it. Because we all have families and we want to go home to them. So if you're looking for a career that it's going to keep advancing, it's going to keep a job. So if you don't want to, if you have, it's kind of slow out there in construction, you could always have, people always need a ceiling fan put on. I know anybody who owns a house, they probably hired somebody to put a ceiling fan on. That's like very common. Put some outlets, receptacles. It's a great, you guys are talking about career. Well, I know tons of guys who started here in the IBEW and have a contractor, has it turned into a contractor and make a really good living after working from homes to commercial to industrial. Electricity is amazing. And in case you guys think that it's just here, the light bulbs and this and that, your cell phone, I think last time I talked about microwaves, right? I think I talked about your antenna. Every phone has a little antenna, you know, which sends a signal. Your wireless, your Bluetooth, that's all microwaves. So if we were to put on these cool little microwave glasses, you can see microwaves going everywhere. My speaker, my laptop talking to the internet. Everything has to do with a field, a magnetic field of microwaves, electricity pushing stuff. Without electricity, we couldn't have that stuff. So it's a great experience. It's been a great experience. I don't know what I'm going to do when I retire because I enjoy it so well. I know people are going to still ask me to do ceiling fans, light switches, and stuff like that. But it is, there's tons of tools we get to work with. Devices like this. See, this is simple. This device here, I plug it in anywhere in the house or anywhere in an office. And with this, will find it for me, and depending where the panel is, electrical panel is. Just by plugging this in, I go over there. It's got a little antenna, and it reads it. It sends a signal through here, and it picks it up over here no matter where you're at. It's a great stuff like that. Great technology, just a simple tool. Also, we work with, of course, like I said, all types of hand tools. Those are going to be really good. You're going to need these. These actually will cut really pretty strong stuff. But awesome, great stuff. Now, everything that I talked about was about safety. So if you're afraid of electricity, great. We all are. 30 plus years, and I'm still afraid of it. We learn to respect it. You have to respect it. And as long as you with the training, with the schooling, and the more you do it, the more you'll learn how to respect it and what to do. So, you know, I brought along some, I think last time I showed these are one of my favorites. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these, but these gloves here with the rubber are rated for 500 volts. So you can literally grab on to 500 volts with these things, no issue. Now, anything above that, it's not rated for it. Now, if you put this other rubber one in there, this one's rated for 1,000 volts. So everything has a different rating, which is kind of cool depending on the voltages you're working. Now, if you guys see these power lines up here, you know, Edison, you see those guys. Now, then you have to put on these gloves to grab onto those. And these gloves right here are rated for 20,000 volts. Yes, and it is, you know, it sounds kind of scary, but like I said, when you know what you're doing, when you've been trained, it's not going to be on your first day or on your 100th day or whatever. They're not going to say, hey, all right, put on the gloves, go grab that. No, they're going to have somebody experienced. They're going to be trained, this and that. And you don't necessarily wear these to grab onto something hot. You use it as a secondary protection from your primary protection, which is shutting it off or just in case. So it's great career. It's led me to many open doors. People are always, if you go online and search up electricians, there's many different types of wages. There's many different types of companies. county facilities, county entities, state government that are always looking for electricians. There's a vast number of jobs, and it's a great career if you want to start your own business. So it makes we're one of the top paying jobs out there, and top earners when it comes to doing residential or commercial, industrial electrical work. So and it's everywhere. Like I said, electricity is everywhere, and it takes a bit of knowledge, it takes a bit of experience, and it takes a little bit of effort. Like anything, if you want to be mediocre at something, you're going to be mediocre at it. But if you want to learn, you want to be the best, you're going to be the best. It's all based on you, your attitude. So you need to make that choice. And like I said, this is plan C/D to me. It's worked out great. I have a home. I have a car. I have a family, and we do well. And it's been a great career for me. Nothing extremely bad has happened to me. So if you're the type that wants to work with their hands, it's a great career. And you want to make money on the side, or whether with a company, it's ongoing, and it won't fail you. Trust me, it's a good career. Any questions?
All right. Thank you so much. That was so informative. I can just see our hands-on learners, Blake, just thinking about maybe electricals for me. I did have a question. So you shared with us, and I'll go ahead and I'll put it on the screen for our students. You shared the paths to joining the IBEW apprenticeship program, and it just can you go over this and just share with us?
Sure. So
what that looks like.
Yeah. So I brought this up. This is from Fresno. Their IBEW over there, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. That's actually the same one that PG&E or Edison uses. We're all in the same union. I give back. I like having people go into the union because they do awesome training. It's 5 years for electricians, and they teach you everything from the basics to the very end. And the pay is very rewarding. Not only the pay, and I know something you guys don't think about now, but insurance, medical insurance. I have Blue Shield, which is called Blue Shield 3. Blue Shield, it's 3-tier, they call it. So I have HMO, POS, and P something else. I forgot what it is. A 3-tier system. So it's one of the best insurance out there. My copay, if I have to, it's usually $10 or none. So I give back. I tell people this is a great way to do it. The electrician, if you read it, the electrical program is 5 years, but it's twice a week. Usually it's twice a week at night, and you go to and you're working. They're an agency that provides you with contractors for you to get your experience throughout your 5 years to work. And there's no cost. It's just your union dues. When you start working, you start paying your union dues, and then you get your benefits. They're going to send you to school, and they're going to send you, and they have contractors who they talk to and have under contract to say, hey, I need workers. And they send you out to them. It's a great organization. I'm pretty sure there's kids, you guys are out there that know an uncle or somebody that's a carpenter or a plumber or electrician that's a union member, and you could talk to them, ask them what the benefits are those, because they're great. Now, my daughter, she just actually got into the sound communication part. I don't know if you guys can read that part, the sound communication installer. That's only a 3-year program. Now, that one's a little bit less gritty. You'll still be on site, construction sites, or you'll be in offices. You could be many places. It doesn't necessarily mean, construction, dirt, bulldozers, all that stuff. It doesn't mean that. It means in an office setting. It could be an existing office. Now, she's doing sound communication, which it has to do with video cameras, data communication, which is your Ethernet cabling or terminations, anything that has to do with sound, alarms. So that's another great job. So if you guys, how many people here there's probably enough people here that know people have cameras in their homes, networking cameras, voice over IP cameras, power over IP cameras, power over Ethernet cameras. So that teaches you everything that you need to know how to install, how to terminate. That guy that tells you from Spectrum that he's going to show up between 6 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, you don't need that guy. You could learning from them, and you could do that on your own. You just pay for the service. You tell them, hey, I just need the connection while the wiring's done. So, and like you said, and as you can see, that's another route for a great side job, for great work on the side, for a great construction or I'm sorry, a great contractor way into doing things. So you do data, you build Ethernet cables, you hook them up, you do other cameras, you can do everything, and it teaches you all that stuff there. And it's great. It's also a program that they offer. And if you call that number, they'll tell you what the requirements are, what you need to do, or go on the organization and check it out. There's no harm in looking at it. There's those two paths you could go by, one shorter than the other. And it's not, like I said, she's doing the sound communication. They're actually sending her out to, it's going to be her first day. She's going to go out to LAX to work on probably doing cabling and terminations for their security cameras. So, and along with that comes background checks and all that stuff, but that they have to do for LAX and stuff, or any type of federal programs. But yeah, it's a great program. Like I said, it tells you, right, you will be paid while working and you're going to school. So, and that's a great program, because there's a lot of programs out there, but they offer, you pay for them to teach you. So, and they don't necessarily give you a job.
I love that. I love how it says our apprenticeship programs are free. I love that. And that is helpful. That's a common thing that's helpful to students. A common thing that we'll hear from students is, I don't have money. I don't know where to start. And I really like that. Blake, do we have any questions in the chat or in our, little Q&A?
Yeah, we do. We actually have one question here. What is the hardest part of being an electrician?
The hardest part as an electrician is the same as the hardest thing for any construction person, and that is always being aware of being safe. That is the biggest thing. It really is. Safety is the big thing for any trade. Anybody who works with electricity, anybody who works with construction or tools or anything, mechanics, is safety. Safety is key. What affects us a lot is not, so let me change that. I'll be being non-complacent. How about that? Respecting your trade and being non-complacent. That is the hardest part, because we're so used to doing it. I even catch myself changing light switches. Oh, it's only 120 volts. No problem. Don't turn it off. I got this. Complacent. It doesn't take much to hurt you. Great question.
Thank you for that. So I've talked to them myself, students who, they know they like to work with their hands. They know that they're not a cubicle person or employee. They know that they like the critical thinking skills required in a field like the electrical field. They're interested in construction, but they're not quite yet committed to which part of construction, whether that's electrical or plumbing. Or what would your advice be to them on, I guess, as far as that entry level?
How do I express what? How do you express what? Unless they have, if they don't know what a prima donna is. That's who we are in the trade. If you put us on a construction, now we're just thinking, everybody thinks about electrician, we're thinking construction site. There's so many. I know guys who never took one step in my apprenticeship in a construction site, meaning dirt. I mean, I did projects from start to finish, and there was dirt. California Adventure, I was there for 2.5 years. It was dirt, just dirt.
Wow.
And I saw every aspect of everything being built, like a time lapse. You ever see those time lapse of buildings being built? Just like that? It's you don't see it, you don't think about it then, but then you look back and you're just like, oh wow. Like I got pictures of me with it's just dirt, and there's a picture of the background of Mickey, the roller coaster one, with the loopy loop. You know, there's a picture of that, just that, and it's just dirt. You know, the grotto wasn't even built yet. It was just the roller coaster, with its foundation. So it is. It's not. I know, like I said, I know there's guys who just done what we call tenant improvement, which is work in offices. You know, hey, we need a contractor, or they're a contractor, and they just do residential. They build, you know, or they work inside the offices. We're like, hey, we need an office remodel. Hey, we need a plug here. Hey, we need this. We need that. You know, I know guys who work with air conditioning guys, and they follow them around, and hey, we need a plug here for this air conditioner. We need power for this air conditioner. You know, I know guys who did those. I'm pretty sure you guys have them in all the schools. It's those portables. You know, those we need more classrooms. They roll in these two portables, and we need power, and we need communication, pipe and conduit and everything. So I know guys that that's all they did in their career. So there's many aspects of electrical fields you could do. So and be at. So it's a great vast of locations and things that are that you could get into, and that's not necessarily have to wear a hard hat. So, you know, most of my let's say about a third of my career I wore a hard hat, and I was at work today. You know, so I'm not. Yeah, I don't wear a hard hat. So it's so everybody's it's a great tool. Now, don't be afraid. There's you know, you have to look into yourself and be like, hey, do I want to be a carpenter swinging a hammer? If you're thinking about construction, do I want to be a plumber? So what plumbers deal with what? Right? On a new construction site, they're running the pipe. I mean, obviously there's nobody pooping because it's a new construction site, right? But they're in the pipe, they're in the ground, they're underground, they're in the dirt, they're above the dirt, they're everywhere, you know. They call us prima donnas because we don't, you know, there's not every electrician is going to be running all the pipe underground. We usually have a crew for that. And we have this thing, and you could probably find them on all these snippets, whether it's Instagram or YouTube. The electricians don't clean. They don't sweep. They say that we leave our messes, and I don't know where we got that from, but on the job site, they need us, drywallers, plumbers, they need power, right? Well, guess what? We come in and provide temporary power for everybody on the job site. So whenever something goes out, remember the building doesn't have power yet. So where are you getting your power from? From us. So we get all the favors because, hey, I need my temporary trailer hooked up. Oh, what do you need? Oh, this. Hey, do this I got you. I'll hook you up with something and this and that. All right. We hook them up with temporary power, you know, and we're not as dirty as the rest of them because we're not in it getting hard in. We're running pipe, we're running wire, we work with our tools. We do have a vast, I'll tell you what, more than all the other trades, we do have a vast mass material. It means a lot of material that we use and different types of material. So as a carpenter, you put up a wall, studs, wood, 2x4, 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 whatever it is, right? Electrician, we got to run the wire. We got to put the staple. You got to put the connector. You got to put the little bush in the connector. You got to get the wire. You got to strip the wire. You got to get the box. You got to get the cover. You got to get the device. And you got to label it. All those steps where a carpenter just ran up the stud and he's done. He walks away. I got to come back and do the rest. I got to drill the hole. You know, so we have a vast material, a knowledge of material that we need to have. And the more, the more knowledge you have, like I said, you keep up with the newest and greatest. We're trying to get better at it. But yeah, so we don't clean because, when we strip our little wires, you use this little tool here and you go like this, and all those little wires the little insulation pieces go everywhere. We don't, it's, you want to move on to the next part. So sometimes we don't pick them up. So, and then, and then our nickname, because we set up ladders everywhere. Our nickname is, is IBW. So they're like, I block every walkway. So our other nickname, they call us Sparkies. That's what they call us, Sparkies. You'll hear it everywhere. Sparky. They won't even know your name. They're just going to be like, and they know what we look like because our tools are very specific to our trade. So if you see a plumber and he borrowed your screwdriver, you know exactly which screwdriver he borrowed. So our tools are very specific to our trade. So it's we're the prima donna. So we're needed. We're there, and we're one of the only trades that's from the beginning of the job to the very end, to the last screw. And that's called job security, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. That is called job security. I have many projects. The theater job, it was dirt and foundation, and I was there doing the underground. All the Edison conduits coming into it underground, all the Edison feeds. And then from there, we went to the foundation, then they started building the structure, and then they finished the whole building. And then from there, I was adjusting all the lighting for the theater, for the stage lighting to the very end. So that's the great thing about Electrician. So you can go from a dirty construction site from the beginning to you have to be clean because you have to enter these finished rooms, these finished locations, and do all the finished works. We're the first ones in and one of the last ones out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very informative. I think we have one more question from a audience member. What does your typical day look like?
Oh, now or before?
They don't specify, but maybe, this is for high school students, adult students. What in the electrical field, what is a typical? I know that's hard, especially because you said there's so many little avenues and veins of like the construction industry, but
well, it's funny because if you asked me 20 years ago, it was my typical day was 7/12s. That's 7 days a week, 12-hour days at night. So 7 o'clock at nighttime till 7 o'clock in the morning, 20 years ago.
Simeon, I don't mean to interject, but the student followed up and said now. So what is a day like?
So now my job consists of monitoring and repairing. That is basically it. Monitoring and repairing. I monitor stuff, and if it needs to be repaired, I repair it. And if I want to stay busy, today I installed 2 lights. In the morning, I said, you know what? I want to get these things done. Let me get these lights installed on the side of the building. Got them installed, got them turned on. And I was like, okay. And then I go over the stations. I go over the items that need to be fixed. I'm monitoring all the time. And I'm also thinking of new things to do. So my work now has led me more towards my PC. So I'm either upgrading, looking for new material, looking for new things, or making changes. I also program HMI, what they call human interface screens. HMI is the touch screens, like your kiosks, or all those screens. I actually do design those now. So it's a lot of desk job now. And if I want to, I could get up and go do something with working with my hands. It's like, you know what, I'm going to go do some real electrical work. I'm going to go hang a light. I'm going to go change a plug, or there's an emergency. Hey, we have no power here. All right, let's go do. Sometimes it's just a matter of flipping the breaker, and it could be like that. So, but it's now I'm a little older. We will tend to gravitate towards the desk and or what I did before I switched careers was start running work. You're in the field, but now you're in charge. Now you're the leader, you're the foreman. You start directing the guys working. You're walking around with the plans. You do read extensive amounts of drawings. We read from electrical drawings, not only that, to architecturals, because it says to put a box there. In my electrical drawings, it says, hey, we need a light switch there. But then how do I know how thick the wall is, or what type of material it is? How high, is the floor? How deep is the floor? And that's going to dictate how high my box is going to be. So I have to look at the architectural. So I have to know how to read architecturals. I have to look at the plumbing drawings, make sure that nothing is crossing where I need to get to, or there's not going to be a plumbing line there also. Because engineers do make mistakes. And so we have to catch them, and we write RFIs, requests for information on, hey, this isn't going to work because out here in the field, it needs to change. So you do gravitate towards where I'm at now because, yes, I'm not younger, I'm getting older, and it is a physical job, but like I said, you want to progress. You could be that electrician, or you could be a great electrician. So it's up to you what you want to do, and it could open other doors. So it's up to you what you want to do with it, but it's a great start.
Love that. Thank you so much. Just as we kind of wrap things up, oftentimes we'll get students who they're watching this recording because they had a conflict or they had a class that they weren't able to make it to the live session. If they reach out with questions, is it okay if, for Blake or myself, we won't send you like 15 students. Either he or I will reach out with the questions that they have. Would that be okay? We would kind of filter them.
Yeah, no problem. No, I don't have an issue with that. That's great. That'd be great. One thing I am a little disappointed. Nobody's asked about the pay.
You're right. You're right. No one did ask about the pay. You'd mentioned that electricians pay well. Does that vary by area? That's one that we have been asked in the other sessions, but it wasn't asked.
It wasn't asked. So, you're looking for a career. Well, you know what? I told you about the benefits. The benefits are great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what about the pay? So, I always tell people, I ask a lot of young people. I ask a lot of people coming up. They're like, "What is a lot of money to you?" And a lot of people say 100,000, and I'm like, you got to think bigger. Okay. When people ask me what a lot of money is, it's like, it's called the Powerball, winning the Powerball. That's what people make. There's people out there that make $1 billion a year. There's people out there that make 500 million a year. There's people out there that make $1 million a year. See, to me, that's a lot of money. That's good money. So when people ask me, it's like, well, when I ask them, it's like, what's a lot of money for you? And they're like 100,000. Well, you need to change your mindset. You need to think bigger. Think bigger. Always think bigger. And even if you don't get to that point of $1 million, maybe you'll get halfway. Okay, maybe you get halfway, which is great. Now, my pay scale, my basic pay scale here is 106. That's 106 for what I do. And that's not including everything I do on the side. Because like I said, there's a lot more favors that I do that I actually make money for. That's another thing you got to watch out for. You will, family and friends. I mean, it's hard to charge family and friends, right? So you will, just like owning a truck. When somebody's going to move, they're going to ask you for that truck. Hey, could I borrow your truck? So it is great pay. And I don't want to, the wireman out in the field now, I want to say it's $63 to $68 an hour.
Wow.
That's plus the benefits. And I want to say the apprentices as a first year. Now, this is here in LA base. I don't know what Fresno is. We're all a little bit different. I know that San Francisco, which isn't far from you guys, is a lot higher than LA pay scale. So the apprenticeships start here. First year apprentice starts at $28 an hour. So I know that in San Francisco is a lot higher. So, and I don't know what Fresno one is. I haven't looked into that one, but everything varies, of course, to the area. But it is, man, I started this career when I first started here. It was $8.25 an hour.
Wow. Well, there you have it to our students. What a great opportunity to our hands-on learners. Another field for you all to explore. To Simeon, we just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing. We really appreciate it. And we're super excited. Blake, this is it. One more. I'm feeling, like I said, it's bittersweet, but we have coming up at 3:00, we have social vocational services. We're going to be throwing another resource at you all with Yesenia Arteaga. And so with that said, we will see you all at the next and our final session. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care.